Good morning, everyone, because it is 12:30 on the East Coast right now, and I am R, and that is
J, all my R's, all my J's out there, all my Trumbaholics and all his
Lightenites.
Lightenites out there. Welcome to R&J
Welcome
Review.
back. Yes, welcome back to our review of Hannibal Season 3, Episode 3, Secondo, which is kind of funny because we're in the third episode of the third season, but it doesn't say, it's not like a word for 3, it's a word for 2. You would think it would be,
Yeah, especially since Secondo, you would assume would be the second episode, especially since there was an antipasto, you would assume that was the first, but
yep.
Yeah, it didn't work out that way.
No, it didn't, because the second episode was Primavera, which is spring in Italian and Spanish too.
Yeah, they don't quite. They're kind of messing up their meals with their seasons here.
Yeah, so, yeah.
I'm just imagining the showrunner like reading the Italian dictionary. And you're like, all right, there's that. Wait, oh no! like after he sends it in,
wrong.
Like, the next
wrong
episode's like dog pants. Like they think it's like main meal, and it's like dog wears pants. Like that's the name of it. I have no idea what the name of the next episode is.
It's a little. It didn't make a ton of sense, the title, but just from where it felt. But I guess this is the first episode where Will and Hannibal are in it together, right? Or
no, last week we got that at the end. Hannibal kind of came in, and you saw the two of them kind of. Well, Hannibal really just like stalking him in that way, in the final minutes, and that was awesome. That was very suspenseful. That was great. And we pick up, okay. I thought it was an okay episode. Probably, I think, the weakest out of the three, but still good.
Yeah, Hannibal, I mean, it was.
Yeah.
I was going to say, it was, its lighting was very dark. It was very dark. It was very darkly lit. The tone was pretty dark. Jack is back in this episode. He's talking to a Florentine detective, I believe, about the monster of Florence, who's Hannibal, because he's back killing again in Florence after 20 years. So we have that interaction there.
Was that guy? I believe his name's Fernando. Was that the guy from last week with Will?
Yes, it was. That was him.
Yes. All right. Yeah, and you mentioned the visual aspect of it being very dark, and I like that so much, especially since the show hasn't always been this. I think if it has always been this kind of dark visually, it wouldn't matter as much. But we came from a show that was, I guess, moderately, it was pretty normal in how it came off visually with, I guess the shade, right? The shades, the colors, and everything. It was very normal, and now it's kind of reflecting where they're at emotionally, and the tone and the colors are very expressive of the tone, which is great. I don't think you see that enough in television shows or movies these days. I think color can be one of the most interesting aspects of a show or movie if done right, if used right, if it's used to tell a story. And I believe the color here is being used to tell a pretty interesting story.
Yes, I agree. I was just thinking back to season 2 in the beginning, like when Will's in the hospital, like the hospital, even the catacombs of the hospital where he was, it was always kind of brightly lit. But here, it's just totally dark. That scene on the Lecter grounds where Will's in the catacombs down there, and it's pitch black unless he shines his flashlight, and we find this French prisoner, which it was very confusing, that whole aspect. And the description of the episode calls for the mysterious girl,
Yeah, I didn't follow it as much because of my television was pretty dark. I mean, I guess going into the future, I should probably look into that. But I couldn't really see what was going on because of the color,
this girl has a relationship with the man in the cage. But that confused me a lot too. I was very, for a reaction, we're going to be confused coming out of this episode for me. I can pretty much follow Hannibal. It's not that it's interesting, it's engaging, but it's easy enough for someone to follow. Here was hard to follow. It was hard for me to grasp 100%.
Yeah, and I liked seeing Jack. We got to see Jack, and he. How did you describe him before we went live? Because you said it so perfectly.
Jack is broken. He's a broken, beaten down, betrayed man. He's broken from the battle with Hannibal, and he's broken from what happened with Hannibal, the whole fight. And also, I'm assuming, not to cut you off, and I'm sorry, his wife, as of now, we talked about too, isn't dead, but she's also very sick, so that's probably on his mind as well.
Right. It's everything. It's everything weighing on him. Like you said, he's been betrayed by the guy he was kind of holding. He was kind of picking sides, and he picked the wrong one. So it blew up in his face, and he said it. He said, "I was dead. Will Graham was dead." Like that, just the delivery of that is just Lawrence Fishburne's doing incredible because, it's coming off very monotone, very. Not lazy, but just very broken. And
I wouldn't call it lazy. I think broken is I would never say lazy. I think broken would be the better word for that.
I think if someone else was giving it, because it's not very expressive. It's very kind of withdrawn and everything, but you're getting the pain with how he's delivering it. It's pretty incredible the way he I think his acting for the small amount of time he was in the episode really, that I'm going to remember some of those scenes because he was incredible this episode. I've always loved Lawrence Fishburne as Jack, but he's stepping it up, I think, this season so far.
Yeah, no, it was really good. He's good. I've always liked him. It's funny, even like in season 2 when he like didn't believe Will, and I still liked him. I still had hope that Jack would come around. And then I also didn't want Jack to die in season 2, so I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, the Hannibal also was he ate a person in this episode. He ate the professor from last week's episode, the person Bedelia killed, I believe. Feeding him to another set of Italian scholars as well.
Wait, I thought it was. Correct me if I'm wrong. The episode started off with the professor from the premiere.
Yes.
And
was it him who got killed and eaten?
I think he got killed, and then they were serving him to the. This is so messed up that we're trying to
decipher who's getting eaten.
Who it is, trying to specify who it is that is being served as a meal to. It's pretty messed up, right? Only in Hannibal.
I know. Only in Hannibal. Trust me, I never thought I would use that in conversation.
Yeah, that's pretty bizarre. But moving along here, we get to the end, and it's just because so much can be said for this end. So the ending, Hannibal, we saw this in a preview, but now we saw it in the episode. Bedelia says, how are you going to handle this? What are you going to do? There's only one thing you can do to forgive Will or to accept his apology because, the past speaks for the future. And Hannibal says he has to eat Will. And they leave off with that as he's playing the piano, and it comes to that ending of the song. It's the big, climax. The piano's strong, and then he just leads out with he's going to eat Will. And that was a memorable scene. That was instantly a classic scene in the making for the series. I think that's going to go down as something people look back at because that was just everything with the cinematography, the way he led into it. Everything was just insane.
It was very insane. That's his way. That is what his way to forgive Will, I believe, is what he said, as you said. To let it go.
Because he can't. Bedelia said it. His past actions speak for his future actions. She said something along those lines, where what he's done in the past will repeat itself if he trusts him again.
Right.
So.
Right. I mean, it was into that part was totally intense, to say the least. The whole episode was intense, and next week next week it looks like Alana is back.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm pretty sure she'll be back, like, alive and everything. But it's also very possible with how Will is, his state right now. It's very possible that she's just an illusion, and we find out possibly towards the end of the episode that she actually died. Very possible. Do I think that's gonna happen? No, I think she's alive. But with how the show is going right now, it's very tough to specify what's real, what's not real at this point, because especially with Will, a lot of things, his mind isn't clear, and that's
right. Yeah, I mean, he's very confused, and his mind is sort of like scattered. But I think overall it was the weakest, but it was still good, because even a weak Hannibal episode is a good episode.
Yeah, absolutely. I say that. I said that last week too. It's just like you said, weak Hannibal episode is still a very strong episode. Everything is here. The sharp writing, the beautiful shots. Everything. It's what you expect from Hannibal. This week's episode is just progressing the story a little bit, and some new aspects with, like you said, the mysterious woman, and now Jack back and everything. So that's really the, no pun intended, the meat and bones of this episode.
That is a pun if I've heard a pun, Joe. That is okay.
I think that's.
Hey, that's it. I'm good with Hannibal right now too. That works out for me.
Yeah. Yeah. So looking forward to next week. Like you said, Alana possibly back. We'll see. We saw her in the teaser. Her role. We don't know though as of right now. So we'll see next week. For next week's episode of Hannibal. And I'm like we said earlier, I'm Jay.
And I'm R.
And until next week, we're out of here.
We are out of here. Bye.